We went through a long government shutdown during our administration when I was serving as vice president. But I think what's different about this time is that now the argument is not over one party wanting to spend more and another party wanting to cut spending, which were always debates that I welcomed. But rather, it's now the difference between the Republican Party that wants to add $2 trillion to the national debt and the Democratic Party that wants to add $3 trillion to the national debt. And so for me, it's disappointing to see that people couldn't find a way to move forward.
That's former Vice President Mike Pence speaking this week about the government shutdown. Let's talk about it now with our panel. Here with us in studio this week, we have UIndy political science professor Laura Wilson, along with Abdul Hakim Shabazz from IndyPolitics.org, and two former state lawmakers, Democrat Terry Austin and Republican Mike Murphy. Mike, I'll start with you. A couple weeks ago, you said you didn't think there was going to be a shutdown. So what happened? What do you make of the former VP's comments on all this that we just heard?
Well, I absolutely agree with the vice president. I mean, what we have here is just a case of absolute selfishness and a lack of patriotism. I mean, nobody is willing to work for the good of the country. And we've talked before about Reagan and Tip O'Neill would have solved this a long time ago. As of right now, I have no sympathy for any of them. I hope they all sit there and rot in Washington while the rest of the country moves forward without them.
Terry, how do you see this from your side of the aisle? Are Democrats making the right move here by holding out and fighting for these health care subsidies?
I think they absolutely are. And I think a government shutdown is absolutely the last resort. But as I have mentioned to other people, when you know you're going to need 6 or 7 votes to get a piece of legislation across the finish line from the other side, you don't ignore them the whole time through and then expect that they're just going to suck it up and vote yes and help you damage the American people.
Abdul, a Washington Post poll this week showed 47% of voters blamed the president and Republicans for the shutdown, while 30% blamed Democrats. How important will public perception be when it comes to who takes the blame for this shutdown and how long it lasts?
I think the public perception really starts to hit when people actually start feeling the shutdown. Like I said, right now it's still just sort of this esoteric, existential thing, but when someone's check doesn't go through, somebody's looking for a government service, they have to wait on the line. For example, your tax refund, that's because the IRS is all out there too. Data, job reports that businesses need to make our economy go. When people start feeling the actual the impact of the shutdown, that's when I think you'll start hearing people yell. Yeah. Right now, it's just still in that first week phase.
Right, Laura. How important will those practical impacts be for people here in Indiana and elsewhere, especially if this ends up being a longer shutdown?
Oh yeah, and I mean the one in 2018 was 35 days. So though we're only a couple days in, I think you're bracing for the worst and hoping for the best. It could be really dramatic. The Capitol Chronicle reported that Indiana has about 44% of its state budget coming from the federal government after Louisiana. And when you look at that, Louisiana and Mississippi, we're third in line. That's a lot of our state budget. So we talk about that ripple effect. It'll absolutely start to matter for people. And Abdul's right. When people start to feel the hurt, that's when they're starting to be really concerned about the impact here.
So, Mike, more broadly, can these parties come together in these really divided times? The White House took some criticism for some of the memes that they put out of the House Minority Leader. The same week, the president went to military generals saying that cities should be military training grounds and saying that he may look to make a lot of cuts to agencies that he felt were run by Democrats. Can these two sides work together amidst all of the heated rhetoric that's out there?
Absolutely, they can. They can compartmentalize things. Trump's going to have to sign off on whatever it is in the end. That's just because, he's the president. But I look to other people like John Thune, who seems to be a very eminently reasonable person, and he's trying to work his way through it. He's a guy that I can see emerging even more as a leader in being president in 2028.
Terry, what are your thoughts on the overall political climate right now in the midst of everything that's happening, in the midst of everything that's happened these last few weeks?
Well, I've always been taught that leadership is about bringing people together. You don't go around poking your opposition or your enemy in the eye and then expect them to come to the table and try to work with them and find a solution. They're going to have to get the adults in the room, and everybody's going to have to give something. They're going to have to give something.
We'll see how it all goes. Abdul, I also want to talk about another story at the State House. In our interview last week with the Lieutenant Governor, State Rep Craig Haggard responding to that, saying He didn't think the LG was doing enough to look into this deepfake video allegation. What do you make of his remarks, and what are you hearing about all of this amidst some new public records requests that have now been filed too?
Well, and we're part of some of those public records requests. I can say this, I have it on very good authority, that when the Lieutenant Governor says he has never seen the video, there is no video, Lieutenant Governor's statements are inconsistent with the facts. I have it on very good authority that he has seen it, that was shared in his office, he knows it does exist. I want to say not everything is in the hands of a grand jury, which we know, who knows where a grand jury will go once this is all said and done. But I would take everything Micah Beckwith says with a Lot's grain of salt, with Lot's wife grain of salt, because I don't trust him at all.
He says there's no there. You think there is more?
There is there.
All right, Laura, in the midst of all of that, there's a lot happening at the State House. The IEDC audit this past week, of course, these ongoing discussions about redistricting, and this deal taking effect this week to help house ICE detainees. Those last two items, of course, really heavily influenced by the administration in Washington.
Oh, absolutely. And the state of Indiana said they want to charge the federal government $292 per day per detainee. And this is the same federal government we said can't figure out the fiscal budget for this year and thus is shut down. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. And when we're talking about the role of our state government interacting with the federal government, we're now less than 2 months away from Organization Day, and typically a short session coming up for this legislative year.
Maybe a special session.
Maybe
right?
a special session, and maybe
We'll
not
see.
so short after all, too.
Yeah, we'll see where it all lands. All right, coming up next, dozens of faith leaders discussing the ICE detainees holding a prayer vigil outside the Miami Correctional Facility. You'll hear from them and from Governor Braun straight ahead.